Wanted to call the meeting to order. As you know, we're trying to stay on time, doing the people's business today. Madam Clerk, if you wouldn't mind calling the roll, please.
Good afternoon. Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Ms. Herbert? Here. Dr. Bustles?
Here.
Mr. Brennan? Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Present.
Mayor Rickaman?
Here.
Thank you.
Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Reverend McDowell, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Are you feeling well enough to maybe give us a little invocation?
Yes, sir, I am.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let us bow our heads. Gracious and eternal God, for your goodness and mercy, for healing and restoration, for this city of ours, as it continues to expand and grow in positive and meaningful ways, for every person that has gathered in this room today, in the midst of all of the vicissitudes that each one of us share, we know that your grace is sufficient, particularly during this Lenten season, as we move ourselves in a season of self-denial. We ask that your mercy might wrap us up into your loving arms of care, protection, and that this city of ours continue to be engendered with the real hope of new possibilities, with meaningful and sensitive conversations being had. Grant us grace for the living of these days. We ask it, we claim it in your name. And everyone said amen.
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 Thank you, Reverend McDowell. As we move to adopt the agenda, we do have one change. We need to add a resolution. Mr. Duval, do you mind reading that out?
Mr. Mayor, we need to add a resolution R 2022-028 authorizing consumption of beer and wine only within Boyd Plaza adjacent to Columbia Museum of Art for Live on Boyd Plaza on Sunday, April 3rd, 2022, to the resolution section.
Are there any other additions or any other items need to be held at this point? Seeing none, hearing none, I would entertain a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Move we adopt the agenda.
Is there a second? Second. Madam Clerk, could you read the roll, please?
Mr. Taylor? Aye. Ms. Herbert? Aye. Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you.
We're at the point in our meeting where we have public input based on the agenda items before us. Is there anyone here who wants to speak on the agenda items before us? There is a place for the public to speak at the end on any issue. This is just strictly for what's on our agenda at this point. Okay, I'm not, yes, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Bernitha Moultrie. I'm
Ms.
from the
Moultrie.
Greenview community, and I'm here to, and first of all, congratulations, Mr. Rickaman, and to all of you, our new electees. This is my first visit with you since you have been elected.
Thank you for being here.
Congratulations. I'm here to speak on the ordinance number 2019-046 that I think is on your agenda today for a reading.
Yes, ma'am.
If I'm in order, okay. And in particular, my concern, along with members of our community, is that you're using the word repeal of that ordinance. We'd like an explanation of what in particular you're wanting to repeal. Our concern is, and my understanding is that it relates to the gun ordinance.
That is correct.
Is that
Yes, ma'am.
correct? And in our experience, we have gone through the problems of gun violence and crime in our community. And in working and in cooperation with the county sheriff's office, the city police, with all of our citizens, we have seen a decline in gun violence and within the Greenview community. There are still some ongoing problems, but not as much as it has been, in particular in my own experience when I moved back to my community, Greenview, that I grew up in after 30 years. And I saw the decline in the climate of our community. But by cooperating, as I said, with the sheriff's office, with the city police, we have seen great improvement. And to see that you are addressing this issue, and if I read it correctly, you're wanting to repeal that certain ordinance listed under the nuances, and in particular, the guns in the range or in the locality of our schools. I would like to have some clarification on that. Hopefully, you're still in our corner as citizens and wanting safety for our residents, in particular our senior citizens and our children and me.
Yes, ma'am.
We want to be safe, and that means taking the guns off of the streets, period. Thank you very much.
Ma'am, so just so
Yes.
you can understand, I know I've sent some things to the North Columbia Civic as
Yes.
well, some information, so everybody had it. We're repealing this because since 2019, when we passed the ghost guns and the school zone, even though there is a school zone in now, there is a state statute that does not allow anybody to have guns at school or on the property or whatever, and we will continue to enforce that and ask for the maximum. These have been, we have gone to court and tried to repeal. We got sued by the state, essentially, is what it comes down to, and we've lost. We can't actually enforce these. And so we're repealing these, but enforcing what's already on the books, and going to continue to invest, because we have not been able to use any of these ordinances since we've had them since 2019. The good thing is all the good work that the police department and the sheriff and everybody's investing is making a difference. So we're going to continue to do that and increase that. But we're repealing these ordinances because we've gone as far as we can in the court system, and we would no longer, we can't enforce these because we lost the court case. We were sued by the state. Because state statute, the state preempts local legislation. So we don't have any authority to go beyond what the state has. And so we've come to a pass. So we will continue to invest in chasing gun violence. We will continue to increase our police force. We will continue to invest in our neighborhoods and do everything, but we're not able to use these tools because the state law doesn't allow us, and we lost that battle in court.
So that means we have to pursue the state and the court system
Well,
to
the-
assure our safety?
Well, we continue to do what we're doing now, which has been working, because you just let me know that, which thank you for doing that. We will continue to increase that. We will continue to work and invest some of our ARPA money and other opportunities and work with our legislative team to see what we can do in the future to continue to protect our community.
Okay, and that's our concern, is the protection of our citizens and our community.
Yes, ma'am, we're not gonna stop protecting you, I promise you.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Anybody else had an agenda item they wanted to discuss, bring forth? Okay, not hearing that, I would move that we approve the minutes.
Second.
Any discussion, any changes on the minutes? Not hearing none and not seeing none, would you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Mr. Taylor?
Aye, from
Ms.
the
Hurd?
lonely end of the podium.
You want me to come down there, Joe? Ms. Herbert? Aye. Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you.
So this is the time for presentations. So we have a proclamation declaring AmeriCorps Week. Who is here to accept this? Oh, we got a crowd. Y'all come on forward. So, yeah, just y'all, in case y'all want to say a few things, I was just going to read just a little bit of this proclamation. It says, "Where service is a hallmark of the American character and has unique ability to bring people of all backgrounds together in common cause. Throughout our history, citizens have stepped up to meet our most pressing challenges of the day by volunteering their communities. AmeriCorps has provided opportunities for more than 250,000 Americans to serve their country through service at nonprofits, schools, public agencies, and community, along with faith-based groups across this country." I got to pause for a minute and give a round of applause to these folks. I have to tell you, that's incredible, but I love this even more. In Columbia, South Carolina, more than 234 AmeriCorps members and senior volunteers of various ages and backgrounds help to meet local needs at more than 38 locations in our great city. By responding to COVID-19, tutoring, mentoring children, youth, supporting veterans, military families, combating the opioid epidemic, restoring the environment, to responding to disasters. So with that, I'd like to, on behalf of City Council, I will present this, and we declare AmeriCorps Week this week.
I just want to say thank you on behalf of AmeriCorps South Carolina and United Way of the Midlands for presenting this proclamation. It means a lot. And I know from experience of doing the direct service here in the community, it has a huge impact. So we appreciate it.
No, y'all have, what
Thank you.
y'all have done, just listening to those numbers, that there are over 200 folks in 38 different spots in Columbia making a difference, makes us very proud. Thank you for what y'all do, and we really appreciate the investment, because I know it's a lot of hard work, and we really appreciate what y'all doing in our community, and thank you. And for those who are here, if you don't want to stay for the rest of government moving slowly, you're welcome to leave at this point if you don't want to stay. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We are moving into a period of your city council discussion and action items, the first being the American Rescue Plan proposed allocations for fiscal year 2021, 2022. Ms. Missy Kaufman, our Budget Program Management and Grants Director, can come forward, or I can assist you, but essentially, this is the action item discussion and also a follow-up ordinance through a budget amendment to approve the funding that we discussed with you all at the work session last week. And we sent a thorough memo with some project descriptions attached, as well as the ordinance that will amend the budget for this approval to you. So if you have any questions, we're happy to take them at this time.
Ms. Kaufman?
Hello, good afternoon. As Ms. Wilson mentioned, we've provided information for you. We don't have necessarily a presentation for you unless you have any particular questions or want to review. We'd like to review again the allocations that are included in the budget ordinance that's on your agenda tonight for City Council approval.
Are we going to approve the budget, including the public health section up there? We had talked about only doing the public safety.
Sure. Yes, sir, that we did include, what's included in the budget amendment is an allocation of the $500,000 for cost incurred to date, which is $415,000 we've incurred to date, and then another $65,000 or so to accommodate, or $85,000 for additional expenses between now and June 30th. We also have included the allocation for premium pay and the vaccine incentives. That's reimbursing ourselves for those allocations, those costs that have already been incurred. And then we've also incorporated funds for year one of the proposed Pathways unit, and then also allocation for the fire department bunker gear, and our second set of bunker gear. I think I heard Reverend McDowell acknowledge affirmation of that one, as well as the gear extractors, and then, of course, year one for the demolition cost. And we only, of course, doing 1 year because we only can approve 1 year at a time.
So it'll take care of everything that's supposed to go in the 21-22 budget.
Correct. That would be amending the current year budget. The other items that were pointed out, we will bring back in more detail and more discussions for you as we complete those through the budget process for 22-23.
Any other questions?
So on the pathways, we're just doing 1 year.
Funding out of this, for this allocation is for 1 year, and then in next year's budget, we would incorporate either one way, yes, sir. But it would, yeah, it's still, the program still continues, just this year's budget amendment is just for the current fiscal year.
You need a motion to
Thank you.
approve?
We do.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, yes, Mr. Reverend McDowell.
yes, sir. Listen, let me just say a word of thanks. I'm glad we've got that other thing taken care of, that pet peeve of mine, of course. Very satisfying, and we finally made it. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second,
Any discussion?
is it true that all of them will be labeled McDowell?
I think for an additional, we can make some considerations.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Hearing no more discussion, Madam Clerk, could you read the roll, please?
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert? Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Your consent agenda items 4 through 10 are next for your consideration.
Is there a motion?
I move approval of the consent agenda items 4 through 10.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? I did want to just take a minute because we do have a rather large contract, item 8, where we're spending a little over $10 million. Part of this is, or part of us investing in reducing the amount of spills with not only investigating but replacing, repairing, and lining probably about 70,000 linear feet of our sewer system. As you know, this is one of the things that we've marked as one of the most important things that we need to continue to focus on is reinvesting in the system, but also preventing leaks and spills. And this is a new way to do it with engineering-led find and fix services, which has been a new concept that we've been working on for months that now allows us really to work directly with the contractor and really putting more dollars into the system. So I just wanted to make sure that I pointed that out, that this is one of those good spends for the city, and we appreciate the fact that our staff worked so hard to make this happen. Does anybody have any other comments or questions? Any items? Madam Clerk, could you read the roll?
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert? Aye. Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Moving into a period of ordinances, first reading, number 11, ordinance number 2022-020, repealing ordinance number 2019-046 that amended the 1998 Code of Ordinances of the City of Columbia, South Carolina, Chapter 8, Environmental Health and Sanitation, Article 2, Nuisances, Section 831, Nuisance Definitions A and B, ordinance number 2019-056 that amended the 1998 Code of Ordinances of the City of Columbia, South Carolina, Chapter 14, Offenses and Miscellaneous Provisions to add Article 12, Extreme Risk Protection Orders, and ordinance number 2019-063 that amended the 1998 Code of Ordinances of the City of Columbia, South Carolina, Chapter 14, Offenses and Miscellaneous Provisions to add Article 13, Gun-Free School Zones.
Is there a motion?
I move approval of the repeal.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Yes,
Discussion?
please.
Dr. Bustles?
I'm sorry, y'all are moving a little too fast for me. I did have some discussion, because I thought we were going to have a presentation.
Yes.
Dr. Bustles was thing, and then you, Ms. Herbert.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'd like to, and thank you to the constituent that stood up today and talked about, her community's experience with working with our city officials to address violence. Just this past week, we lost 2 individuals to a shooting in Green Crossing, a student housing complex. And I attended a candlelight vigil with Councilwoman Herbert in which I learned the stories of countless families torn apart due to violence. And from a public health perspective, there's no doubt that violence and trauma are the root cause of so many problems that are facing our communities. In fact, the Centers for Disease Control found that more Americans died related to firearms in 2020 than any other year. I want to note to the public that while I was not on City Council when these laws were passed, they have now become unconstitutional and unenforceable. They are simply just words on paper. I want every child in our city to succeed and meet their full potential, and they deserve a life free from violence. And so as we vote today on these unenforceable laws that we lost in court, as Mayor Rickaman shared with you all, I am requesting that our staff, including CPD and my colleagues, invest in violence prevention programs as we seek to allocate this historic funding that we've received through the American Rescue Plan. And should any of you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you, Dr. Bustles. Ms. Herbert?
And I'm sorry, Mayor Rickaman, I thought that we were going to have someone to explain the process or explain what the repeals are about.
TK, can you just talk about the process of where we ended up, I think, without making any legal opinion?
So we passed the ordinances in 2019. Thereafter, the Attorney General filed a suit in Richland County Court. Here?
Yeah, I think the mic, you.
So the AG filed an appeal. It went to Richland County Court. We lost, not the appeal, but he filed a suit. the court did not hold them to be unconstitutional. They found it violated state law and that the state preempted us from doing it. So we filed an appeal to the Court of Appeals from that ruling. A few weeks ago, we withdrew the appeal. So therefore, we've got ordinances on the books that cannot be enforced. And so we're seeking to repeal those.
Question, Ms. Knox. 2019, can you give me a specific date in 2019?
I can get you that. I don't have it up here with me. No, I still don't have a, I don't have a
Mr. Mayor, she could
specific
pull the
date.
mic.
September 17th, 2019 was the ordinance.
But I think that's two of them, the ghost
All
guns.
three of them, I
There's
think, were
three
done.
separate ordinances.
The other one was 8/6/2019, and I got to get to the last page, sorry. The other one was September 17th as well. So one was done in August, and two were done in September 2019.
And I did want to make sure that we were clear that we, the city, withdrew the appeal. Is that correct?
We did.
Right. So just for clarification, we didn't lose the battle, we gave up on the
We
battle.
withdrew the appeal.
Because state law preempted us.
We gave up the battle.
So I think what we all
Miss-
know, I'm sorry,
No, go right ahead,
Reverend
Mr. Mayor.
McDowell?
I'll say something else. No, go ahead and finish.
I'm not sure. Reverend McDowell, are you there?
Yes.
Did you say
I
something?
guess, TK, the question, just for the general public, I think we need to be very specific in terms of what item 11 concretely talks about. There has been conversations surrounding item 11, and of course, this particular ordinance. Could you specifically say what that involved, what's involved in that?
I couldn't understand what he said.
I mean, is it ghost guns, bumper stocks? I mean, I think the general public needs to know that.
There's three separate ordinances, and one has to do with guns or firearms and mental health issues. One is school zones, and one is the ghost guns. There's three separate ordinances. We were sued on all three in one case.
Now, is that inclusive of bumper stocks?
Bump stocks.
Did
Does that include the bump stocks?
No, we still have bump stops. We still have one gun ordinance on the books.
That's a bump, okay,
Yes.
all right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Any more questions for Ms. Knox?
Move to previous question.
I just had one comment. I won't hold us up long. I will say that I just wanted to make sure that we were clear to the public that this is a decision that we have made, and I do understand the direction that it's going. But I think that when you know better, you do better. And so I've learned a little more information and understanding. And I will say that the reason, despite knowing the procedural situation that we find ourselves in, I particularly in my district where people call me and literally say that they're scared and say that they hear gunshots at night. And I have one neighborhood president who says, "I'm tired, Ms. Herbert, I'm tired." That in this moment, I couldn't do anything to affirmatively repeal anything less than doing our best to protect citizens. And so I just want people to understand my vote, and I want my fellow council people to understand I understand the procedural consequences, but I don't think, based on what I'm experiencing in my community and the calls that I get, that I can be ever seen, or do I ever want to be seen doing anything less than everything I can do.
Ms. Herbert, we appreciate your commitment to your constituents, as we all are, and I think what you're going to hear from this council is that where we are today and what we continue to invest into reducing gun violence, enforcing the laws that we have the ability to enforce, we are going to do that with all the might we have, especially when it comes to gun violence. We, as you know, most of us have spent time talking with legislature because this is a judicial issue as well, not just a police issue. So we're going to continue to invest and do everything we can to keep every neighborhood safe in our community, and that is a commitment by this council as a
I look forward to
whole.
having those discussions.
So, Madam Clerk, you read the roll?
Yes, sir. Mr. Taylor?
Just repeat the motion for me.
A motion to approve the repeal in ordinance 2022-020. So a vote, yes.
Vote yes.
Ms. Herbert?
No.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
No.
Mr. McDowell?
No.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you. Number 12 is ordinance number 2022-025, amending the 1998 Code of Ordinances of the City of Columbia, South Carolina, Chapter 5, Buildings and Building Regulations, Section 5326, rental permit required, and Section 5339, permit fee.
Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none and seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you read the roll?
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Item 13, ordinance number 2022-026, amending ordinance 2021-022 to amend the budget for the City of Columbia, South Carolina for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2022. And again, this is the ordinance that is the mechanism to approve the actual funding through the American Rescue Plan funds, incorporating those into the current fiscal
Current year
year's
budget.
budget.
And just, that's all this is, right? 'Cause
Yes, sir.
This didn't come till very late, so we didn't, I think it was in the final agenda, but, so I'm just now looking at it. It's just ARA money that was approved earlier.
Yes, sir, it's incorporating those funds that we just discussed with you. Yes, sir.
Take the motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
And just to clarify, because this is for the current fiscal year.
Yes, ma'am.
2021-22, not
Yes,
next year.
yes, ma'am.
So
Madam Clerk?
essentially, this,
I'm sorry, Reverend McDowell?
yeah, essentially, Ms. Wilson, this is a priority-based budget. Is that correct?
No, sir. Reverend McDowell, this is so that she can amend, the city manager can amend the budget to add the AARP money that we just approved in
All right.
item 1.
All right. After we add it, okay, I got you. All right, just wanted to make sure.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
Yes, sir.
Madam Clerk.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, can I just ask just a procedural question as I get educated? So every time we add money from different sources in, we'll vote to amend the budget like this? Is that just kind of standard operating?
Yes, sir, if it is additional funds that we would be adding to the budget, yes, sir. Thank you.
Can only change within, you can't add. Good afternoon, Ms. Hampton.
So
Good afternoon.
this is your public hearing and first reading for zoning planning matters. Our Planning and Development Services Director, Krista Hampton, will assist.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Good evening, City Council. In addition to participants here in the chambers and viewing the meeting at the city's website, the public may comment via telephone. And when calling, please include your name and the case number or address. You can listen to the audio and participate in the meeting by calling 855-925-2801. The meeting code, when prompted, is 8651. You can press star 1 and stay on the line and listen until your case is announced. Or you may press star 2 to leave a voice message that will be played back in the meeting. Alternatively, you can press star 3, be placed in the speaker queue to speak live, and city staff will unmute callers during the comment period for each case. Callers are limited to 3 minutes, and if you are participating by phone, remember to turn off the audio on any other devices so that we can avoid feedback. First matter for your consideration tonight is an annexation at 819 Skyland Drive, a request to annex the property, assign a land use classification of urban edge residential large lot, and a zoning classification of single-family residential large lot. At the time of annexation, the property is currently classified as mixed residential high density and zoned RSLD in Richland County.
Do we have anybody here who's for or against this annexation? Madam Clerk, we have anybody online?
No, sir.
Any comments, questions, or concerns from council?
Move approval, Mr. Mayor.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, will you read the roll?
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles? Dr.
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell? Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
An annexation at 626 Sally Baxter Road, a request to annex the property and assign a land use classification of urban edge residential large lot, a zoning of residential single-family large lot at time of annexation. The property is currently classified as mixed residential high density and zoned RSLD by Richland County.
Do we have anybody who is for or against this annexation? Anyone online?
No, sir.
Are there any questions from council? I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Since there, did you have anything, Mr. Herbert? No, I was prepared. Oh, okay. Just getting ahead of the curve. Madam Clerk, would you read the roll, please?
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Annexation at 1458 Carolina Road, also known as 1458 Trinity 3 Road, request to annex the property and assigned a land use classification of urban edged mixed residential, a zoning of office and institutional at the time of annexation. The property is currently zoned classified as neighborhood medium density and zoned RU by Richland County.
Is there anybody here to speak in favor or against this property?
We have Mr. Norman Jackson.
Mr. Jackson.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jackson. How are you?
So far, so good.
Okay.
Nice seeing you. Norman Jackson, 265 King Charles Road in Columbia. I came to speak on the rezoning of the property. I noticed it says annexation, comprehensive plan, map amendment, which all three are grouped together. I have nothing against the annexation or the comprehensive land use plan. My concern, I received a lot of calls from the community about this property being rezoned to office and institutional. What is misleading or misunderstanding is that it's zone medium density. Office and institutional can have multifamily housing. And that's the confusion the community is having. So you're going from medium density to not even to high density, but multifamily, which is a higher density. And for my calculations, the amount of units can be placed on per acre on multifamily, right? The traffic generated is located between two churches. The property next to it will cause a domino effect, and it just can't handle it. But for the community to have that change from medium density straight to office and institutional, right, with that much increase in units, I do not think it's fair. I think what I would recommend that the committee do is to just send it back to the Planning Commission and have the community meet with the developer to come to some understanding of what's really in place there. The notice I saw just says zoning and public hearing on the 15th today. I just realized that it was approved by the Planning Commission, but I did not see a notice for Planning Commission hearing. I just saw a notice for this, and I drive that road every day because I have to use that road, and I read the sign. So there's some confusion. I got calls from the community, and that's why I'm here today. I support the annexation and the map amendment for comprehensive plan, but the zoning, I just have concern for that, and I'm pointing it out to you. The main concern. Right?
Yes, sir. Ms. Hampton, could y'all maybe go through and address some of the concerns? I heard several from Mr. Jackson, one of them about the Planning Commission notice, neighborhood notice. Could you maybe just give us some background, a little in depth, where if we did have folks come and discuss it, and then go through as he mentioned, the neighborhood medium density?
Certainly. So for these annexation and rezonings, Planning Commission is not a required notice, only the zoning public hearing. So that is what has been noticed. The zoning classification is obviously adjacent, office and institutional, but it is also what the developers require for their proposed development, which is a series of duplexes. It's a 70-unit rental duplex development comprised of 35 buildings. For them to do that, that is why the office and institutional was requested. The zoning, the medium-density residential would not permit that. It's also adjacent to this property, which is why staff recommended that zoning.
In the project itself, is it capped out at the 35 units?
That's their current proposal. Now, as I've mentioned to council before, you can't make rezonings conditional, so once you do office and institutional, they have the rights to do whatever is permitted under that zoning classification. This is just what the developers have indicated to us is their plan. I believe we've already received a sketch plan for review pending our Planning Commission review. That's not been submitted formally yet, but that is what their intention is currently.
Did you get any feedback from any concerns from neighbors, letters, anything that we didn't get in our packet that you know of?
No, sir.
No, sir.
And the Planning Commission voted unanimous approval?
Yes, they advise you on the rezoning. Annexation is solely within your purview, but they did recommend for the map amendment.
Could I offer up that we give first approval to keep the system going, but request that the development team sit down with the neighborhood and share with them the plan before we take this up on a second reading? That way we can keep the process moving, but also make sure that we're communicating, just so that if there are any questions or anything out there, would that be acceptable?
Yes, as long as we give first reading approval.
Yeah.
Make the motion to approve.
One more question.
Yes, sir.
Krista, is that parcel contiguous?
Yes, you could, where the purple is, that's the city.
The purple is the city?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay.
Made the motion to approve, Mr. Mayor.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? We'll make sure that the developer gets with the neighborhood in between now and the next reading. Madam Clerk, will you read the roll?
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you.
Annexation at 1010 Edgefield Street, a request to annex the property and assign a land use classification of urban core residential small lot and a zoning classification of residential mixed and historic preservation overlay at the time of annexation. The property is currently classified as mixed residential high density and zoned RMHD by Richland County. This is in the Earlwood community.
Is there anyone here to speak for or against this annexation? Do you have anybody online?
No, sir.
Is there a motion?
Make the
So
motion
moved.
to,
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Madam Clerk, would you please read the roll?
Mr. Taylor?
aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan? Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you.
This next case is a zoning text amendment related to that annexation. So this annexation is in the middle of the Earlwood protection area, and this would amend the text to add that parcel that you just voted on to the Earlwood protection area.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor or against the zoning text amendment? Do we have anybody online?
No, sir.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
I would just, can you kind of explain a little bit more about what this does?
Certainly. When properties are in a historic district, there's two ways they are applied. One is through the zoning map, so that would be a map amendment. And then within the actual text of the zoning ordinance itself, the individual tax map numbers, are listed. And so this being annexed within that district, this will add that tax map to the list.
And property owner didn't request this, or did they request it?
They are aware of and of the application of the historic district overlay, yes.
So I'm just curious, how did this arrive? Did you request it, or did the property owner request it?
I wasn't involved in the conversations directly, so I did not request it, but I can't say whether they requested it directly.
And what I guess I can, I was at the, one of the meetings. I will say, Councilman Taylor, a lot of the neighborhoods are actually looking to extend their areas. So I've heard a lot about folks wanting to make sure they stay in the area as opposed to making them smaller.
I understand. I mean, again, if this is something that was driven by the city, that's one thing. If it affects somebody's property, and I just want to make sure that the property owners are aware.
They are aware. I did
And they're
confirm
fine with it.
of aware. I can't tell you their opinion on it, and we could get that information from them directly.
Well, now, I do think that that is proper, because one of the issues that I do have is folks not knowing.
They are aware. They are absolutely aware. I did confirm that.
Okay, so your question, Joe, was their opinion?
Well, I mean, again, I don't like putting overlays on somebody's real estate without knowing that they're fine with it. And if that's the case, I would ask that we defer this and ensure that the property owners are fine with it.
I didn't hear the last part, Joe.
Just
I'm sorry,
make sure
Councilman
the
Taylor.
owners of the property are okay with it.
I think my question here for clarification is, the applicant is you, Ms. Hampton. Why isn't the property owner the applicant for this?
I believe they may be selling it, so I am generally the applicant when text amendments, actually it is a text amendment. So there are only city councilman, city manager, zoning administrator, citizens can't request text amendments.
At all? Did they provide a letter of support for the action that they want you to take?
Just a petition, but we could see about getting,
And so this is for a single parcel. This is not a overlay extension of several.
correct, it's that parcel there.
Which is not part of the other overlay, correct?
It's not in the city. It's being annexed. So because it's being annexed, it is in you can see the hatch marks, which is where the boundary of the historic district would be. Because it's within that is why the overlay would be applied to it.
So all the surrounding neighbors, if they were to request annexation, would have to have the historic overlay as this parcel does, according to this map.
Right, within that area up to Park Street.
Thank you.
You know, my concern with this is the fact that we don't have anything from the property owner and the fact that they're going to sell a piece of property, which is in the past created a lot of havoc for new owners. Can we get that before we take this up? I think it's very important to hear from the property owner before we move forward on this.
And I want to make sure that the petitioners are the ones purchasing, and I don't know whether they've closed, but they are the ones that are petitioning the annexation and that I've stated are aware of it. So I just want to make sure y'all know that.
Okay.
It was subdivided from the property that fronts Park Street. So we're getting a new lot with a new house, which is terrific.
So I guess my question is since we've already taken the annexation, they can come back to us when they actually own the property and request this, correct? Because they don't actually own, the people who have requested this don't actually own the property yet.
I can't speak to that for certain, whether it's closed or not.
I think
Same way we did the last piece.
I don't have
Go ahead
any
and give it a reading.
issues.
Hold it, second reading, if we don't get some satisfaction. Property owner.
So we have an option to take back the motions.
I
that were
wouldn't take
moved
back,
forth.
well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
You know, come back and then you could reinstate the motion that we would give it first. So options are you could give it first reading and then request that this is resolved before we give it second, which means it can't get a second unless it's resolved. Or we can just defer the whole item until we get everything. So what's,
Well, Mr. Mayor, can we approve the annexation?
we've already approved the annexation, right? So this is just on the zoning text message, which is why I think we need to get that clarification.
And I agree. I think we should treat it like we treated the other item and make sure that we are sure of what their position is and understanding between now and the second reading.
So are we in agreement that we'll give it first reading with the understanding that if we don't get a clarification that we will not give it second reading, which means it will go away?
Well, the second reading would just be to deny.
Right.
No problems with that.
Yeah, okay. Is that, so do you need us to, well, we can't really put that in an amendment, can we? Can't amend the motion.
I don't, have we
I
made a
understand the
motion?
direction.
This is just on, if you put it in the Earlwood thing, why don't we just defer it to the next meeting? It's annexed.
So we've already made a motion. Someone would have to amend the motion to
Have to
include
amend
that.
the motion.
We can just give it first reading.
And then just,
Ms. Hampton
just
knows.
get everything done and, all right, we'll go with the first reading and then take it from there.
Understand the direction.
Thank you.
And we do have the option at the second reading to deny it. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Taylor?
Move the previous.
No.
Ms. Herbert?
Yes.
Dr. Bustles?
Yes.
Mr. Brennan? Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye, with the understanding that we will get clarification from the ownership of the property before second reading. If not, we will not approve it. Thank you.
And just for clarity, do we just want to get clarity that the current owners know? Or are we trying to get their opinion on it? Just
Well,
so
I mean,
that Krista has a good, knows exactly what she needs to find
I
out.
think at this point, until the property sold, the current owner has to make that decision. If they don't want to do it, then this will have to be withdrawn and resubmitted at the point of closing, because we can't do this prior to closing.
Yeah, we'll confirm the ownership, and then whoever the owner is of the property will get that information.
Thank you.
Your final case is a zoning map amendment, so this is rezoning the property at 1810 Allen Benedict Court. A request to rezone the property from residential mixed district, that's an RM2, to a mixed-use 2 district. This rezoning is requested to facilitate the redevelopment of this property.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor or against zoning map amendment?
Move to approve, Mr. Mayor.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I take it this is the zoning change needed for Allen Benedict Court, for the new development to move forward.
Yes, sir.
Perfect, thank you.
Yes.
Madam Clerk, will you read the roll, please?
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
And that concludes your zoning public hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Krista. Moving into a period of event resolutions, item 20 is resolution number R 2022-019, authorizing consumption of beer and wine beverages only at Outfest Columbia in the 1200 block of Park Street between Gervais Street and Lady Street on Saturday, June the 4th, 2022.
Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Madam Clerk, would you please read the roll?
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Item 21, resolution number R 2022-022, authorizing consumption of beer and wine beverages only at the South Carolina Carnival in the 1800 block of Main Street between Laurel Street and Richland Street on Saturday, June 11th, 2022, with a rain contingency date of Saturday, July the 16th, 2022.
Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Concerns? Not seeing none or hearing none? Madam Clerk, could you read the roll, please?
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Mayor Rickman, I'm going to add item 21.5, I'm going to call it, and we will have you consider the amendment to your agenda, resolution number R 2022-028, authorizing consumption of beer and wine only within Boyd Plaza adjacent to the Columbia Museum of Art for live on Boyd Plaza on Sunday, April 3rd, 2022.
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any concerns? Not hearing none. Madam Clerk, can you please read the roll?
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you.
Moving into an additional period of resolutions, item 22, resolution number R 2022-023, certifying building sites as abandoned buildings pursuant to the South Carolina Abandoned Buildings Revitalization Act, Title 12, Chapter 67, Section 1267-100 of the South Carolina Code of Laws, as amended regarding the properties located at 936 through 938 Hardin Street in Richland County, and 944 through 946 Hardin Street in Richland County, and 948 Hardin Street in Richland County, as well as 950 Hardin Street in Richland County.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Any questions or concerns? Hearing none, seeing none, Madam Clerk, could you read the roll, please?
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you.
Item 23 is resolution number R 2022-024, adopting the City of Columbia use of force policy.
Move approval.
Second.
Any discussions, concerns? As you know, the changes here that we're looking, that the police chief is putting is part of the CALEA standards update. The department had already made minor revisions to the use, and however, during May of 2020 site visit, the assessor noted that changes that required immediate attention, and so we're doing those so that as part of the police CALEA re-accreditation commission review is coming forward, that we're up to date and in order. Is there any other discussion? Madam Clerk, could you read the roll, please?
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you.
Moving into a period of appointments, Mayor Rickaman, item 24 is the Tax Modernization Committee.
Yes, I wanted to move forward three slates. Stephen Taylor, James Bennett, Scotty Smith, and as part of my motion, making Mr. Taylor the chair of the Tax Modernization Committee. That's my motion. Can I have a second?
Mr. Stephen Taylor or Mr. Joe
Mr.
Taylor?
Joe Taylor,
Yes.
excuse me. God, we have two Taylors here.
Who has a brother named Joe Taylor?
Scotty Smith,
Mr. Mayor, that was Joe Taylor,
Hugh Smith.
James Bennett, and was there another name?
Scotty Smith Hughes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion, concerns? Madam Clerk, read the roll.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other matters, item 25, council is asked to approve reimbursement of the November 2nd and 16th, 2021 City of Columbia municipal election expenses as requested by the city clerk's office. The award to the Richland County Voter Registration and Elections Office in the amount of $184,846.89.
Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, Madam Clerk, read the roll.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you.
Item 26, the City Council Standing Committee referrals process, I think that the Honorable Daniel J. Rickaman will address.
Well, I think this is a follow-up from our discussion in our work session about the referral process and how the chairperson or referral from council or the chairperson can then call a committee meeting as long as they move it through the clerk's office to make sure that we have publicly noticed it and have staff available for that hearing. That's my motion.
Second.
Any questions or discussions? Hearing none, seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you. Item 27, moving to a priority zero-based budget. The Honorable Daniel J. Rickaman, Mayor.
As we've discussed previously about moving our budget process to a priority and a zero base, which means clearing out and not using our budget last year as the basis, but actually building it up from the base up for our department so that we can make sure that we're addressing the current priorities and needs for our community. And this will allow us to redirect funding into those departments to make sure that we're investing internally and taking in account of the priorities that are in this budget year. I would ask that council support and move forward to allow our staff to move forward on preparing that priority zero-based budget moving forward.
Can we have an explanation of what this will do to the process we're in right now by either Missy or Jeff?
Well, the process right now, I'm fine for Missy to come forward, Mr. Duval, but essentially, we have received budgets from the various departments, and so I don't really feel like it's going to detract from that process too much yet with where we are. We've received their budget requests. We're about to, as you know, go into budget workshops with you all. We usually start with going over revenues with you. And I guess knowing, I think what the intent is here, I feel like Missy, Jeff, and I will be able to redirect the staff and make some adjustments because we're really just beginning to dive into those budgets.
Well, this is not too far from the way we have been traditionally doing our budget, is it not?
Yes, sir. I think what you're going to find probably is us addressing with you the difference between how we may have budgeted for certain positions in the past and authorized certain positions that maybe are held in the budget but not necessarily utilized. And so if by giving a real deep dive into looking at positions, in my opinion, is going to be where there's probably some wiggle room here for finding funding to put into the priorities, as we try to always do, priority-based budgeting based off what I'm hearing from the council. And you know at your retreat, you've identified some outcomes that you would like to see. We're going to have a part 2 discussion on that, but that gives me somewhat of a guide of what I think you've identified as priorities thus far. And of course, during your budget workshops, I would be looking for you to tell me that even further. Missy, do you want to add?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir. Mr. McDowell.
that was, I guess, maybe I put the cart in front of the horse, because I'm struggling a little bit with the zero-based budget. Is that a conversation? Because I understand that all the departments, from what I just heard, have already submitted their budget. Is that a conversation for this year or next year?
No, this is for this year, because those budgets, by building those budgets up from the ground up, not only does it create transparency, but it also identifies what our true costs will be. So we'll be able to go in there and prioritize, but also take things like overtime and everything and really budget it so that we can move forward and we have a clear picture and how we use that funding. We're talking about using the funding within our departments to make sure that we're getting the priorities that we set forth completed.
Okay. Okay, I need to know exactly what that's going to involve, because if I'm correct, the staff has already put together a budget. Are we to reconfigure that, the figures that they already have worked hard at?
We don't have a budget put together.
No, once the departments do that, of course, do we make it zero-based? Because if I understand zero-based budget, it involves, of course, expenditures that expenditures that can be justified. Is that something that we're already doing?
Yes, do you want me to
Yeah, I
chime
couldn't
in?
understand, I'm sorry.
Reverend McDowell, I think I understand what you're saying. Their budget requests at this point that the departments would have submitted. So we are really in just the beginning stages, as we normally are at this point in the process, where we are, the executive management team and myself, the assistant city managers, are looking at their respective departments' budget requests. And to be quite honest with you, over the last several years, I mean, these budget requests are pretty flat, to be honest. And so when I mentioned a minute ago about positions, to me, that is really maybe where the play will be, so to speak, as far as positions we've always authorized, but maybe not utilized. And so what I think I'm hearing is wherever there's play in these budget requests, we're going to dive a little bit deeper based off what we know from operating differently during even the pandemic. What programs are still essential versus maybe we're doing things differently. I heard Mayor Rickaman mention looking hard at overtime, things of that nature. And then we will take these budget requests and begin to go over them very with a fine-tooth comb on the executive management level, and then begin to share information with you all, answering your questions during the budget workshops. It's not a whole lot different, really. I'm not alarmed by the request at all. I think that it is providing an opportunity probably for this newly seated council to put a spotlight on the prioritization of things. Missy, how would you add to that?
I would add to that piece, we may have also mentioned to you, we are implementing an actual formal priority-based budgeting, utilizing a program with Resource X, which will the actual mechanism, it is not very different. It's really quite in line with what it is that you're proposing. It is a way of us being able to actually allocate and evaluate our budgets by programs, not just what departments are, but the actual services that we offer and the programs that we provide to the community. It's based on those, and then you align those resources that we have to those priorities that are established by City Council. The mechanism to do that is some time to do and to complete. However, I think as Ms. Wilson's mentioned, and Mayor, as you've mentioned, what we have at this point are departments' requests. So what we'll be able to do is at least be able to demonstrate starting to align those resources towards those priorities, being able to put those resources where it is that you've highlighted as priority areas, especially as you're coming out of your, which is a perfect timing of coming out of your retreat and highlighting those. And of course, going forward, we'll be able to better demonstrate the alignment of those resources towards those designated priorities.
Well, it seems to me that we're talking about two methods, right? We're talking about a traditional budgeting method and, of course, the zero-based budgeting.
This is traditional
But
budgeting.
both of those methods, of course, are used, in my estimation, to track expenditures. Is that correct, Missy?
So there is, at the basis of every budget, there is always a line item budget. You still have to have those line items in order to the actual mechanism of delivering expenses and costs. You can't escape that piece. But how you align those resources and how you allocate funding towards programs and services, that's really what the basis of what a priority-based and zero-based budgeting would allow us to do, is it demonstrate and allows us to better demonstrate that those resources are going where the community says are the priorities that you're setting. So yeah, so in essence, we're not escaping the line item budget in terms of how we have to prepare it. How you approve it and how you present it is really where we're getting to as well. I hope that
Ms.
helps.
Herbert, then Mr. Taylor.
And I just wanted to make sure, but I think you all may have answered it, because my concern, you won't have to start back over. These decisions will be done on the executive management level, but departments won't have to go back and resubmit.
No, there's always a little bit of give and take.
Right.
You recall, as a former
Right.
city employee, Ms. Herbert, about the budget process time. And so no department head comes into their budget request ever thinking that the budget request is going to be what they submitted in a check, and that's what they're getting. So can't recall, it should not come as a surprise to anyone at
Oh,
this point.
I never got my full budget
Okay,
request.
well.
Good job,
Well,
good job.
I think even if we have to give some more instructive language to department heads, just reiterating, as council's motion does today, what priority-based budgeting the intent is here, then certainly I don't think that should come as a surprise to any of our department heads. I think we're good.
And I guess my question with that too is making sure we communicate, have we finished our priorities from the retreat so that we can clearly articulate them to staff, so that they know what we're aiming towards? So I guess we need to make sure we finish that.
Yes, ma'am, and the staff and I am really just beginning to let the staff know this as you are leading up to your part 2 of your retreat. There's some homework the staff and I are working on, knowing what those that draft vision and your strategic outcomes say. I'm gonna assume a little bit right now that the time you all spent, really good time at that retreat, putting those together is where you are. And so we're already working along those lines. I mean, that would be what I would be utilizing between now and when we can all be together with you again at the end of this month, so that we can be using this time wisely. I'm going to take that, unless you tell me otherwise, that the outcomes you came up with at the retreat give a good foundation for what you deem as the priorities at this point.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Mr. Taylor?
I would just like to take a second and congratulate you and thank you, Ms. Wilson and Ms. Kaufman and Jeff and Mr. Mayor. I think as we come out of COVID, this is the right time to take a look at this. You know, we saw lots of things change the way we operate in every arena, business, government, everywhere over the last 2 years. We saw things that worked, we saw things that didn't work. And frankly, I think, Reverend McDowell, it should give our executive management team the ability to rethink things if you want to, and how we operate and so forth. And as Ms. Wilson mentioned, you know, the staffing situation that we have faced, I mean, we're not going to fix that in a single year. So it lets you take that into effect. I think it's a very timely and a very positive thing for the city. And I thank y'all for being willing to do this.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
may I just ask Ms. Wilson a question? Ms. Wilson, so we're talking about a combination in terms of usage, a priority / traditional zero balance budget as we move forward.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know,
Okay. All right.
I'm very comfortable, and I appreciate your questions, Reverend McDowell, that the terminology is pretty much the same. I mean, we've been doing priority-based budgeting, in my opinion, for some time. I think we're going to refocus a little bit, but we're good. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you very much. The reason, my interest, of course, is that for 42 years, churches that I've worked with it's always been a priority-based budget. And so it sort of piques my interest that we're going to be using a combination of those things. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't get to pass the plate like you did, Reverend McDowell. So we
Please, Mr. Mayor, let's not get into that now.
did we get a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, Madam Clerk, could you read the roll?
Mr. Taylor? Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you all so much. A new item on your agenda, which will not always be on your agenda, I don't think. I will always have to utilize this time, but a city manager's report. And I sent you an email suggesting that we incorporate this for times when maybe the council has requested some information. You don't need a full-blown presentation, but you're asking for a report of some type. But you also would like to see that report placed into the record, the formal record of the council. And so that's what we intended for today. I know that our last council meeting on March the 1st, the request was made for the original projections on the Bull Street project, the cost, what's been spent to date, the revised estimate to complete our obligations and such. And so we've sent you all an email about that, but we've also provided these big old binders in front of you that has all of what we have as far as agreements, which there are many, and other documentation, just for your record, for your reference. And if you find that meets what you're asking us for, then certainly this would be the time where you can put it on the record or ask any questions. It's not, I know you don't have any questions of the information right now, but we were just doing what we were asked to bring it back to you.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I think this is a good addition to our agenda listing with the city manager's report. My concern is that we need to have a rule on the council that a major report such as this Bull Street report, which is this big, does not have to, it needs to have 4 members of council request this report. I think it's a bad practice if we have one member of council ask for an extensive report that's going to require a lot of staff time and come up with a document like this. I think it's good that we ask for reports, but if we ask for an extensive report, it needs to have the majority of council asking for it.
Mr. Mayor, may I comment to that? Since I asked for the report,
Mr.
I only
Taylor.
asked for 3 things. The original cost to date, and projected cost to finish. I think the city staff took it upon themselves to create a very extensive report. Actually, when we did it, we basically said I thought it was going to be simple enough to where we would just be the email that I got earlier this week. So I don't know if one man's trash is another man's treasure. So how do you define extensive? So
Well, I would say, first of all, I appreciate the time and effort that the staff did to put this report, because not everybody's been here and not everybody's on the Bull Street Commission. So this is a good knowledge for us to understand, but also as we move forward for new council members and the rest of us to be reminded of where we are so that we understand as we move forward with other projects. But, I do think that this is not out of the purview of an elected official's request. And
I do. I think it has to have a majority of council ask for it.
I don't believe that's the case, but if we want to get into rules and really getting down into it, then we can have we can refer this to the administration committee for discussion.
Maybe we need to do that, but I think we need to be sensitive to what we're asking our staff to do. Our staff has been bending over backwards trying to assimilate new members of council and getting them up to speed, but there is a limit to our staff time. And when they are asked to do an extraordinary report, I think it needs to have the backing of a majority of the council members to put them on that sort of a time schedule.
Mr. Duvall, let me repeat one more time. I did not ask for an extensive report.
I appreciate the time and effort for the report, because I do think it's a good thing for us all to be up to speed, because I don't think anybody at this table could go through and give a history of every piece of this and understand why expenses are where they are. And so we need to know, as we're moving forward as a city, we have to understand where we came from, B, where we still have obligations and to go. And I know it was a real pain, but I appreciate what you've given. I'm going to utilize it as we move forward, and I want to thank you.
I certainly want to thank
Thank
you,
the
too. I
staff.
think you've done an excellent job. I just wanted to be a majority ask for it.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir,
I'm sorry.
Reverend McDowell.
Is there
You know,
any
it's
way
like
we
God talking to you or
could,
I
something.
keep saying up there, up there.
is there any way we could refer this to put more teeth into what Howard is saying? Can we refer this to the administrative committee for review and perhaps bring it back to council?
You as a council member can refer anything you want to a standing committee.
All right, I'd like to refer that.
Just remember, those rules will apply to all requests.
That's correct.
Yes, Ms. Herbert.
So I move that we do that.
Ms. Herbert, we're still in discussion period, Reverend McDowell, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
Are you finished, Reverend McDowell?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. No, I did want to echo.
Yes, ma'am.
Echo those sentiments because I do want to make sure that we are doing everything to make sure that staff is successful in the things that we need to do moving forward. And so I'm very cognizant of how much time and effort they have to use with historical stuff. I do believe that there is going to be times where we need to do, have certain reports, but I really just want to make sure that we're not, because I've been there, where I couldn't get the day-to-day things done or move my department forward because I was dealing with historical information. So I do agree with the referral because we do need to make sure that we have some kind of process, and maybe it's more of a communication and really understanding the expectations so that staff knows exactly. Like if you wanted 2 pages, like I will say, I want a 2-pager. But we kind of have to figure out a way to make sure that we're clearly communicating what is expected. I will also say that these binders are expensive. No, they really are. So maybe sometimes check and see if everybody wants. I love binders, and that's why I know that they're expensive. So I just want to make sure that we probably at this point need to have some type of system, some type of process to make sure that we're not taking up too much staff time on historical matters when we still have to get the day-to-day objectives done. So I would second that motion that I think that.
And we'll take a
Reverend May.
motion at the appropriate time. We are not in council committee referrals, reports, or new business at this time. We're still in the city manager's report. So we'll allow the city manager to continue on.
And we'll make note for it at the appropriate time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
That really concludes my report, other than not to pile on the other binder that's in front of you regarding the same information as requested regarding 1401 Main. And that concludes my report, Mayor.
Now, is this,
And the city manager's report, just to be clear, as we used to do in the prior, your plan is to once a month kind of to give us the update on the city as you used to do it on a regular basis.
I did. We've been through many iterations, as you know, from your time on council, Mayor Rickaman. That wasn't necessarily my intention. It was really the mechanism, because it was specifically requested to put things into the record, and I really didn't have another way to do that without doing a full-blown presentation on something you've requested. So I was going to only do it as needed, but I certainly can do it every time or once a month. It doesn't matter. I was just doing it today because of what was asked, and I thought you all wanted you wanted to put it into the record.
Yeah, I would like down the road as you to update us as things, because there are a lot of moving. You and I talk almost every day, but I do think it's good for the public and for the rest of council to get an update, because there are a lot of issues. I mean, there are a lot of things going on around the city every day, from employment to contracts to future projects to questions about other projects that we've spent lots of time on. And haven't gotten anywhere, so.
I'm happy to do that, and we'll come up with a frequency. I think that makes sense.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I just had one question. Is Councilman Taylor, is your report in here? Is that included in here too? Is that something separate?
That's only from the staff,
Okay.
Ms. Harper. Are you ready to move forward with your committee referrals, reports, and any new business, which we did add that language there too, because I'm finding sometimes we're needing that as well.
I know Mr. Brennan had requested a referral. I'll start with him.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank you for your time this week for Councilman McDowell and I to come visit with you on something that I think all of council members have voiced their frustration with, all of citizens of Columbia, the county, and the Midlands in general, and that's litter and the appearance of our city streets, our right-of-ways, our easements, our private property. I wanted to bring forward a motion to really, for us to own the problem. So many times we rely on the state, the Department of Transportation, to come in and clean up, and we all kind of see where that gets us. I think it's time that we own the issue of beautification, litter, and how that translates into community pride in our neighborhoods, in our hospitality districts. So I want to put forward a Columbia Clean division under our Columbia Water. Columbia Water is not just within the city, as we all know. It services parts of the county, parts of Lexington County, and several municipalities surrounding Columbia. So I think that's a good vessel for us to really take on the bigger issue of trash, appearance, water quality issues here in Columbia and around the service area of Columbia Water in its 6th district. So I'd like to make a motion and then hopefully open it up for comment. I'd like to make a motion to send to the Administrative and Policy Committee to study the creation of a Columbia Clean division under Columbia Water in the 6 water districts to focus on servicing litter, beautification, and clean water initiatives. Thank you.
Is there a second to refer it to the committee?
I'll second it.
Second.
Any discussion? I did want to say that, you know, we're all very concerned about litter. So we also have been kind of limited on our ability to fine folks for litter. Currently at the State House, there is some legislation to up the fine that would give us some more teeth to put in against litter, because it has become a problem. It's become a problem throughout our city. It's become a problem in neighborhoods that have become empty lots, have become dumping grounds week in and weekend out. I think what Mr. Brennan is bringing forth is part of a solution. It's not the 100% of the solution, as we know. We have some opportunities to work with our youth. I've heard about some great programs with some folks in the neighborhood, which we also want to incorporate into this, where we are cleaning up in our neighborhoods and working and supplying some after-school work and opportunities to put pride back in our neighborhood. And part of that cleanup is our funding with this AARP money that we have put forth as well. We have 68 condemned homes that we will be tackling between now and June, and then really pushing forward to rebuild. So as we clean and rebuild, we start revitalizing our neighborhoods and making true investments. I think this is one part, and I look forward to hearing from the committee of where they end up and how we add the youth groups and other pieces to that. Keep the Midlands Beautiful. We'll be holding a community-wide cleanup that I think we all ought to be part of. Some of that's going to be announced in the next couple weeks, but a great opportunity to jumpstart this type of program, making sure that we take back Columbia from the litter, the cans, the paper, the dumping, and really show our pride in Columbia. Are there any other comments or concerns?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I just want to echo what Councilman Brennan said, of course, in our meeting. It gives our young folk an opportunity to sort of be partners with us and with the city. Team Blue becomes a reality for our young folk. It gives them something to do, and of course, particularly the pride in each community, and them being a part of that community property and of course a part of us. So yes, wholeheartedly, I support that.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, if we could have the city manager perhaps talk to our lobbyists and convey to them that we'd like for them to convey to the House Judiciary Committee, which is where I think the litter bill exists today, to raise, that we are fully supportive as the capital city of the state, to raise the fine for littering to a level that basically tells folks this is important. I think today, the limit for a litter fine is $100 in the state of South Carolina. And I think it should be raised to 1,000 or something to where people understand we're serious about litter going forward.
Yes. Yes.
Any more discussion?
Move the previous question.
Madam Clerk, read the roll.
Yes, sir. Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye. Any other referrals?
Mr. Mayor, do we refer that, the verbiage that Howard spoke of just a moment ago, do we refer that to the administrative committee?
Would you clarify that verbiage for me?
Yes, Howard, do that for us, please.
He said he wants you to refer it to the committee,
Clarify that verbiage.
the request for information.
Oh,
Yes.
the request for information. Oh, I just want to, I prefer to do it informally, but if you want to send it to the committee, I think that there needs to be an agreement on council that major reports requested of the staff have at least a majority of the council asking for them. I don't think that we should have a single council member asking for reports that are going to take a lot of time, staff time. So we can work on some words if you want to, Councilman McDowell.
Can I take a stab at the motion
Yeah.
to refer to the committee whether or not we need some guidelines for council to handle staff requests that may take an extensive amount of time?
I think that's excellent.
And just to clarify your motion, that's not historical, that's all issues is what you're saying.
That is,
That's
yes,
correct.
yes, all
I
issues.
want to make sure.
That's correct.
Is there any discussion?
So, Mr. Duval, would you restate your motion again?
We got it written down, Ed.
This is just to
Well,
refer
I
it to
want
the
you to
administration. It's just going to the
Well,
committee.
if you would, then have the clerk to restate that for us.
What I have so far is they're referring to the Administrative Policy Committee, a decision on whether or not guidelines are needed for city council as it relates to the request for reports of staff. Something to
Yes,
that
ma'am.
nature. We'll clean it up.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, Madam Clerk, can you read the roll?
Yes, sir. Mr. Taylor?
No.
Ms. Herbert?
Yes.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan? Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
No.
Thank you.
Are there any other referrals? Yes, Mr. Duval.
I just want a personal privilege here. I've got a mayor's fellow that has been assigned to me. First time I've had a mayor's fellow.
You're welcome.
She's not a fellow, but she is Olivia Gillespie from the University of South Carolina, native of Clinton, North Carolina, and majoring in political science and wants to get a master's in public administration, which is the exact process that I used in my career. So I'm hoping that she will be able to learn something in the next few weeks that we're together, and I hope to have her work on short-term rentals and other things.
Don't let them corrupt you. Stand up, Olivia.
Count.
Dr. Bustles, were you?
Yes, I mean, he stole the words out of my mouth, I promise. I wanted to take a moment to thank you, Mayor, for being creative with the Fellows Program to allow City Council to have some support as we, as you all know, love our details. We're learning a lot. We're asking a lot of questions. And, particularly as we seek to get more young people involved in local government, I think this is a great avenue by which our young folks can learn about what it is like. And so I'm very thankful and like Councilman Duvall, very excited to be working with Gurujal Rupal, who recently ran for student council, ran a wonderful race at the University of South Carolina, also loves public health and wants to go into health policy, is an Indian American woman, which I'm very excited about. It couldn't have been a better pick. So thank you. And I look forward to working with her to research the various issues that we are passionate about to make our city better.
Thank you, Dr. Bustles. I had an opportunity to meet all the fellows today, and I have to tell you, what an impressive crowd of fellows. We're very excited, and I'm being in all of your shoes, I understand how important it is to have an extra hand, and I think you're going to be really surprised at the ability of these young folks. They're very smart and talented, and I think they're going to have some real great ideas to work with each one of y'all. So I'm glad that we could do that. With that, Madam City Manager, we're going to go to public input.
Yes, sir. Any additional public input?
Did we have anyone sign up or wanted to speak?
Mr. Gina Williams?
Miss Wiley, you all right back there? All right, just want to check.
She's sitting on the wrong side. Switch sides on us.
Yep, she moved to the right.
Hi.
Good evening, Miss Regina. How are you?
Good.
It's always a pleasure to see you up and about and around and about.
Well, thank you. First, I want to thank you all for allowing me to sit in on the meeting, the meeting that you had this past
The work session.
work session. It allowed me to learn a lot, and I appreciate that. I would encourage all citizens to do that so that we can help with our city. The ordinance, looking at ordinance number 11. It's not ordinance 11, but it's number 11 on the first reading, item 11, yes. First, I did not understand it completely when I started reading it, so I'm wondering if in the future we could have a sort of a synopsis of what the ordinances are about. I was able to look up a few, but everybody can't do that. So if we can do that, I would appreciate that. So now I want to ask before I make my statement, am I correct in looking at these ordinances and saying that these ordinances are repealing things that we've already voted upon?
Yes, ma'am. So
Okay.
each one of those ordinances were repealed because we are not able to enforce them at this time. Now, we do have ordinances on the book for each one of these. Well, I should say there were 4 ordinances done. 3 of them, one of them has stand the test of time. 3 of them haven't. But school zones, we do have some ordinances there as well to address guns on schools and et cetera. Yes, ma'am.
So let me make sure I'm listening to this correctly, because I want to make sure that when we repeal these, that our neighborhoods will still be safe. If I looked at it correctly, one of it was talking about ghost guns. Do we really know what ghost guns are and how easily accessible they are and how we can just purchase them? They don't have serial numbers. Any child can order it and put it together, and you can't calibrate. Oh yeah, I've checked out some of my people now. You can't calibrate. You don't know what kind of bullet the person used to shoot out of the gun. Are we really going to make these legal now?
They're not legal, ma'am.
They're not. I mean, are we talking about repealing
what we're repealing is that the state statute doesn't allow us to enforce these things. We have had them on the books since 2019, and we
Right.
can't enforce any of them in its current state because the state statute or state law preempts us from doing so.
Okay.
So we got to work together to be creative to do other things.
The other thing is orders of protection. Are we talking, is this about when I feel like my life is in danger or something, and is that in here? Did I look at that and see that in here? See, I'm asking because I'm not really sure.
I would refer to our legal counsel to go through that, because
Right.
I am not an attorney. But I do know that the Universal Citation Code in the state right now, there is law similar to what this is already on the books that we need to make sure we enforce when it comes, and that's Section 2331, 1040, and I'll get you copies of everything so you have what I have.
Okay, because I was fortunate enough to be able to sort of research it and look and see, and I still didn't understand. So I would think that if my peers in the community understood, they may be able to call you and express their opinions on this. I think that's real important when you're talking about, you're in charge of the city of Columbia. The other thing, I'm concerned that guns have become a public health issue, more so than what I'm hearing. If these are being repealed because there's nothing on the state statutes that can help us to enforce it, then we need to look at that. I don't want a public health issue to turn into a political issue. Everybody has the guns now. That is a public health issue. Please, let's look at this before our second reading. Maybe have some folk to come in and talk about it, explain it, and then get some input.
Ms. Williams, I appreciate you bringing that up. Gun violence is certainly a public health issue, and that was intentional and why I wanted to make sure that we acknowledged that. And I am committed to making sure we do have the experts come in and talk to us about what the evidence-based programs are that can reduce gun violence and reduce firearm-related injuries. And it is something that I will implore my colleagues to ensure that we make happen through other mechanisms that allow us to, do it within our purview. So essentially, be able to implement a gun safety initiative in a way that it doesn't violate any, state level laws. So I hear you, and I appreciate you bringing that up.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we know, or that other folk understand what it really means. Finally, let me say that it's the Colony, or North Point, or Greenview, or Belvedere today. But if we repeal some of these laws without putting something into place, it could very easily be Shandon, Wood Creek Farm, Rosewood, tomorrow. We just had a shooting at Allen University last week. This past weekend, we had it right on USC's campus. Please, let's not politicize something that's keeping our neighborhoods safe. I'd appreciate that, and I appreciate you all listening, and I'll see you at the next meeting.
Ms. Regina, I just want you to know that nobody here is backing off on trying to get things done to improve the issue. We just got to make sure that whatever tools we have in the quiver, we can actually use, because having them and not being able to use them doesn't get us anywhere. We need to make sure we continue to make an investment. And I think what you've heard from this council is that we're going to continue to invest in all our communities. And I want to be clear, all of our communities, and making sure that every child feels safe wherever they live.
I agree, and I believe that you will. I believe in you. And just know that we talked about transparency during the elections, and I believe in you. Okay?
Thank
I'll
you.
call you if we have any problems.
Well, that's one thing I know.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Mr. Black?
Good evening now. I just want to say that the Columbia Council Neighborhoods will be having our annual awards banquet. It's been on hiatus for a few years, and this year we are back in person. It will be on April 13th at Seawells. We will have Congressman James Clyburn and Richland County Sheriff Leon Lott as our keynote speakers, as well as perhaps a surprise appearance by Chief Holbrook, and perhaps the legend himself, Aubrey Jenkins, to name a few. But I wanted to say that right now, the Columbia Council Neighborhoods, we are currently accepting nominations for the Award of Special Recognition, the CCN Friend of the Year, the Neighborhood Volunteer of the Year, the Neighborhood Program of the Year, and the coveted Neighborhood of the Year. Nominations are open until March 24th. That's next Thursday at the conclusion of our monthly membership meeting that will be at the Eau Claire Print Building at 6 o'clock down on Ensor. And we're hoping to announce next week ticket sales and potential sponsors, income from organizations to help finance us. And as far as the council goes, we do want to say that we have made, since I took over the presidency, I've worked hard to bring in grassroots organizations to come in and present each month. You know, we've had some amazing people come up. I want to thank Councilwoman Herbert and Councilman McDowell up in the clouds, sorry, for coming to the meetings, even if, you know, what we appreciated the most, especially from Councilwoman Herbert, was kind of sitting in the back and just kind of taking it in. And then people realized who she was. And then her table started getting full. And after the meeting, it's kind of, so we do appreciate that. But wanted to let the council know that we are offering a standing open invitation to any and all council members and the mayor. We are actually have set a spot on the agenda for any council member that wants to come to our meeting and speak. We're not going to hound you. We're not going to beg you to come. You know, it's like if you want to come and see, be a part of an organization that represents over 100 of your community neighborhoods and organized representatives. My time's up. Thank you.
I'm sorry, John, what day did you say April the 13th?
Yes, Wednesday, April 13th. And it is after the Masters ends. I did find that out.
Was there anyone else who wanted to speak or has signed up?
I do have a 30-second voicemail to play into the record.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And with the escalation of gun violence in the city of Columbia, I am requesting that you keep ordinance number 2019-063 on until you have something better and enforceable. Thank you for your time.
That's all that I have.
Thank you. At this point, entertain a motion. Mr. Duvall?
Mr. Mayor, I move we go into executive session for receipt of legal advice relating to a pending, threatened, or potential claim pursuant to SC Code 30-4-70A2, Miller Manor versus City of Columbia.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any add-ons? Not hearing none, seeing none. Madam Clerk, can you read the roll?
Mr. Taylor? Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles? Mr. Brennan?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you.